Hey everyone, Ryan here, and I'm excited to review the Summer 2024 PAZ, VISLA, and MOFF GIDEON battle. With set number 75386, it has 289 pieces and costs $40. The price might feel high, but I think the quality might just be there for the figures and the build for this $40 set, so we'll find out throughout this review if it's really worth that price tag. Now, this is a Mandalorian Season 3 set, so we've got some Season 3 box art alongside some Season 3 minifigs. On the back of the box, it highlights some of the functions of this set, but doesn't show off the hidden feature with this build, so we'll take a look at that later. Cutting open the box, inside you're going to find 3 numbered bags, a small sticker sheet, and an instruction manual. And at the back of that instruction manual, it advertises that you can combine sets to expand play with the 75373 Ambush on Mandalore Battle Pack, making it a $60 combination of sets. It is one complete play experience with 8 minifigs and 2 builds smashed together. We'll find out later in this video if it's really worth doing. The first 2 minifigures we'll take a look at are the new Praetorian Guards. They've both got different weapons that both look very nice. Otherwise, the figures are the exact same. The new helmet mold is a really good and accurate mold with a nice print that looks just like it does in the show. Underneath the helmet, we're going to find a red head, which I actually think was the wrong color to use here. I think they should have used black. I think it would have looked better and more accurate to what we see in the show, as we see kind of black clothing underneath these helmets. So I do wish they had gone with black instead of red, but ultimately red was the choice here. Anyway, the rest of the details on the torso and legs looks very good and accurate to me, although I will say I do wish they had gone with the skirt dress leg piece that they have used on some of the prior Praetorian Guards. The next minifigure is quite exciting to me with the newer PAZ VISLA. Starting with his weapon, I think it looks great, and I love the idea to put the orange piece on the tip to make it look like it's actively firing at the enemies. He's got a slightly updated backpack design as they remove the clip from the bottom that was present in the 2021 figure. The rest of the figure, for the torso, the legs, and the extra chest plate armor piece, that's the same design and print. The real difference in this new PAZ VISLA figure comes in the helmet. There's a small added black line underneath the blue filled in section on the cheek. And then something that took me a little bit longer to notice is that on the side of the helmet, they have added a silver print to just add more detail to the side of the helmet. I think it makes the old helmet look super unfinished in comparison. I don't think the old PAZ VISLA was bad by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously, we're just seeing some minor updates here, but these are very welcome updates. Higher accuracy, better detail. These are just things that LEGO Star Wars fans generally want, and it's a good thing to see delivered on. Almost forgot to show you, the head underneath is still just a plain black head. The final and my favorite minifigure in this set has got to be the Season 3 MOFF GIDEON. The biggest reason he's my favorite is the new helmet. I love what they did with this helmet. It was something that I had a lot of fear for, though, because if you're a fan of LEGO Star Wars, you might know that they can be really cheap from time to time. We had a very similar situation to this back in 2021, where we had the Gar Saxon figure, had a basically modified Mandalorian helmet that got horns on the top that perfectly match what Gar Saxon's helmet has. However, when it came to the armor in that same summer 2021 wave, they gave her the helmet that was made for Gar Saxon. So her helmet should have a different set of horns that looks completely different, and it just didn't translate well. And so I worried that they were going to use this helmet again here and be equally as cheap, but they weren't, and it looks amazing. I think the red printing really pops on the black helmet, and the horns on top are perfectly sized for this thing. It's a really cool helmet to have in this set. The rest of the detail on the figure for the torso and legs is equally incredible. It really adds to the vibe of this figure. That red and black and slightly light gray maybe design just looks great. He also has a jetpack on his back, and there is back printing under there, although it'll mostly be covered up by the jetpack for most collectors. It is very notable that they did not include Moff Gideon's cape. However, it is an understandable omission given that you really can't have the cape with the jetpack. It's not something that meshes for LEGO or LEGO Star Wars. They typically or historically haven't really done that sort of thing, at least not that I can think of off the top of my head, outside of a figure like Boba Fett, where he'll have a jetpack, but his cape is just a small cape that goes off to the side of his arm. It's not a cape that flows over the back. Now, finally, we've seen a slight change in the skin tone that they're using for Moff Gideon. It's one that's more accurate to what we see in the show, which is great, and it's a new face print. They are similar face prints, but they're not the same, as they have gone and removed his mustache. There are also a couple of other very, very slight differences that I could find, but that's kind of irrelevant. The big thing is they changed his skin tone and removed his mustache to make it an even more accurate character. And when it comes to LEGO Star Wars minifigs, for me, accuracy is king, and this figure is the king. It's an incredible character, really just missing a cape. Taking a look at the bunker build, I think this thing looks great, and I think it's going to be a fantastic display piece as we add minifigures into the scene. It's just going to really come to life, and the real downside of this, of course, is going to be the size. As a $40 set, this definitely doesn't feel like $40, although the recent inflation has definitely thrown off my sense of value with LEGO Star Wars in some areas, but $40 definitely feels high for this size of build. The figures, as we saw, were very good on the whole, but the build is going to feel small for you. In front of the door, we have a mixture of tiled and studded space, and this is where we can begin to place down some of our minifigures to create some action with PAZ VISLA there. You can get one of the Praetorian guards over here, and with the two of them there, it looks quite nice, but it really doesn't have enough space to fit that second Praetorian guard, and really I feel like there should be a third Praetorian guard in the set, given the way the scene played out with PAZ VISLA versus 3 Praetorian guards. So unfortunately, you can't fit them all, and then the scaling feels a little bit off, so there's some awkwardness with the size of this build that is more than just the value for your money. Like if you look at the front of the box, they don't even bother to put the Praetorian guards on the actual build because it would just look too squished and not fit. The only other thing in front of the build here is this crate, and inside of this crate we actually have a thermal detonator that they show Moff Gideon using on the front of the box, so that's a nice little inclusion. It does, if removed, provide a little more space for figures, so I guess that's a positive, but on the box that's how they have it, so that's how I put it on mine. On the panels inside the doorway, there's these nice stickers with red lights that look very cool. Adds a slight bit of color to the build. And above that, we've got the white Imperial style lights that also look very cool. Off to the left, we have a printed control panel, and I really like the use of the 1x1 plate above it with the translucent red. Just looks really nice with the color. Perhaps the most surprising inclusion in the set has got to be the lamp. They included another lamp in a LEGO Star Wars set for the second time in as many months. It's fantastic to see. A nice bit of extra detail off to the left of the build. Kind of like a throwaway thing, but it's also really fun. Looking at the back of the bunker door, you can see it's not quite as pretty as the front, but there's this little knob on the top which you can pull up on to open the door. You can see PAZ VISLA just outside of it there. This piece basically goes around this piece that protrudes out, and then it drops underneath to hold this door up, and it does such a great job because even if you try to push it down, let me widen this angle for you. So generally, as I try to push it down, it's not going to push down. Now there is a threshold at which I could just break through this and it's going to open, but generally you actually have to use this piece here. You have to push down on it and you'll see it pop open. Here's one more angle on that so you can see exactly how it works. So there it goes, locked into place and drop down. Unavoidably, unless you built up part of the cave above it, you just have the exposed door when it's open, and the bottom of it doesn't hang out evenly, so one side drops down further than the other side because that's the side the support is on. But with the door open and the minifigure running out, it can look pretty cool, and there are some extra studs at the back for more characters if you really want to fit more in there. So there are some positives to it, but ultimately for display purposes, I would keep the door down personally. Off to the side here, under the turret, we have this kind of inside of the cave slash operations area, and it's got this really cool sticker that is of Moff Gideon's Imperial Light Cruiser. Definitely one of my favorite stickers in recent LEGO Star Wars history, but there's also plenty of room here to place a figure like Moff Gideon. I think he looks pretty cool there in what feels like a personal little room for him, so pretty dope. Nice addition to the build. Now just above that, we've got a large dual cannon that can spin 360 degrees here. We'll spin it all the way around, very smooth. It cannot point up or down though, so it just points straight out, and then if you want to fire it off, you just push down on the stud shooters here. Just like that. Very simple. They fire very nicely. They're stud shooters. At the back of it, there's also a spot to place a figure, so you can have someone like Moff Gideon commanding the turret here. Finally, I get to show off the hidden feature on this set, and that is that you can remove this entire cannon section with Moff Gideon on top to reveal a hidden compartment. Inside right now, we've got 4 of the green studs, but you could fit quite a bit else in here as there's ample space to fit more weapons or maybe even a minifigure, although it'd certainly be tight. So that's about all you can see and do if you just buy the $40 Mandalorian Bunker set. But if you add on the $20 Battle Pack build, you can do a little bit more. There's basically 2 ways to go about this. There's a clip here that you can attach it with. And very frankly, I don't think it looks very good this way, as you just have a massive gap in what feels like should be the front of a big wall of rock. Fortunately, there is a second way to connect this. There's another clip on the other side of the door where you can attach the other side of the Battle Pack build to, and it fits much better. So with this setup, it doesn't really take away from how great the front of the bunker looks, but it adds a ton of playability onto the side and back of the bunker, as you have the side tunnels that the Mandalorians kind of travel through, and you can add in the Imperial Commandos as well. You can either have the Mandalorians flying around or the Imperial Commandos flying around, doesn't really matter. My favorite part about it though, probably the fact that it includes a crate that is exactly the same as the crate that's included in the bunker. Okay, maybe that's not really my favorite part, but I always really love things like that. It doesn't happen too often. And it's also worth saying that this is one of the few instances in LEGO Star Wars history where you have 2 separate sets that are built with a connection to each other in mind. I think if you like what you see, picking up both of these sets for $60 can make a lot of sense for a lot of people, especially as a play experience. I think it makes more sense than for display. I think if you just wanted to display something, I would just get the bunker on its own, but the two sets combined are pretty cool. And again, it's a rarity in LEGO Star Wars to have this sort of thing, so I appreciate seeing it. My final verdict on the PAZ VISLA and MOFF Gideon battle is going to be an 8.7 out of 10, with a few deficiencies being that it's missing a Praetorian Guard, definitely needed more floor space, and really the price at $40, given those two deficiencies, doesn't make sense, but all of them could have been solved by making it cheaper or including those two things there. So ultimately, I think it's a very good set, and the highlights definitely outweigh the lowlights, with the newer PAZ VISLA and MOFF Gideon just being second to none. They're incredible figures, and the build overall still looks really nice. So if you plan on picking this one up, I don't think you'll be disappointed. Let me know what you think about the set in the comments section below, and you can check out more 2024 set reviews on the end screen now.